They say the highest level of learning is teaching.
People that provide first aid support can be emotionally affected. It really can be quite distressing and potentially even traumatic.
What are the common misconceptions that you find in the marketplace about mental health support?
People think that mental health at work is something to be done in a crisis. It's really good to see society in general talking about mental health more and more. So it was quite relatively easy, natural process. Leaders are vital to supporting mental health and really normalising talking about mental health, because we all have it, we all deal with it every day. We're not just talking about poor mental health. Emotions and reactions are an everyday occurrence, because naturally dealing with conversations that are distressing, that has a negative impact on those call handlers as well.
And I get the impression that there's no right or wrong.
What I would also say is that there's absolutely no pressure, because we very much pride ourselves on creating a safe space.
Yeah. Louise Fernand, thank you so much for joining me. Okay, so Louise, you're the lead for mental health training at the British Red Cross, is that correct?
It is, yes.
Excellent. Can you tell me a little bit of how that role came into coming or birthing?
Yes, of course. So I've worked for the Red Cross for over 15 years. So I was involved from the very beginning. We recognised many years ago now that people that provide first aid support, attend a first aid incident, can be emotionally affected. It really can be quite distressing and potentially even traumatic. So we reached out to our psychosocial and mental health experts at the British Red Cross and asked them to help us develop an element of emotional support, which we have included in our first aid training. And from that, we really quickly recognised that there was a need for that sort of skill set in the wider workplace, more on an everyday level. So I worked with a team of people, the psychosocial experts, and took their skills and knowledge that they utilised to support our staff and volunteers, and have done for forever, to develop an external offer, which is great because it means that other companies can benefit from this skill and expertise that we have. And yeah, the role really evolved to become my sole focus.
Right. Nice.
Yeah.
You seem very passionate about it. And knowing you from a personal perspective, I know you are. Can you, bit of a diversion here, can you say anything to how it's affected you personally, being in this leadership role, in the training role?
Yeah, I've just learnt so much. I am passionate about it because I genuinely see the benefits of the skills. And what I really like is, although it's built by clinical experts, it's so accessible. The skills are everyday, simple frameworks that you can use on yourself or to support other people. So it's just really relevant to everybody.
Mm.
It has benefited me, but that's just because I'm so close to it and I'm seeing it every day.
Yeah.
So any challenges that I've had or will have in my life, I can apply the karma framework, I can apply the window of tolerance, I can apply, all these different tools.
Amazing. It's funny, they say the highest level of learning is teaching. So yeah. That would make sense. So why do you think that the British Red Cross actually invested so much into the training for mental health specifically?
We could see, it's really good to see society in general talking about mental health more and more.
Mm-hmm.
And so we knew that we had a skill. We have the expertise. We've been delivering it to our staff and volunteers for many, many years. And we're a very well-established training company.
Mm.
And so we had everything to be able to develop this product, this offering. So it was quite relatively easy, natural process to take that expertise, utilise our amazing training infrastructure, combine the two, and offer out mental health at work training.
Thank you. So in the workplace, obviously you have leaders, and with the leaders, what role do they play in terms of mental health training?
Yeah, leaders are vital to supporting mental health and really normalising talking about mental health, because we all have it. We all deal with it every day. We're not just talking about poor mental health. You know, any emotion is connected to our mind, and our emotions and reactions are an everyday occurrence. So leaders are essentially the role models of how we should be behaving in terms of how we support each other, how we support ourselves. And so if they have that, the skill set that they can get from the training, they can then behave in a way that demonstrates a positive approach to mental health at work, but also they can then support their teams to normalise those conversations and make sure they're being empathetic, they're allowing for reflection and debriefs, and managing the challenges that happen day to day.
It sounds like, in theory, conducive to a very calm environment, so people can probably bring out the best of them and progress and be creative and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think if people feel supported and comfortable to speak openly when they've got concerns, then they will naturally feel calmer and therefore more productive.
Yeah. Could you share a story, any story that comes to mind, about the effect of a training within an organisation?
Yes. We have really, really good feedback. It's lovely to hear from our learners. And I would say, as a general comment, people really like how engaging, how learner-focused and practical our training is. And it's quite a preventative approach. One example is from the Age UK Nottinghamshire. So they came to us because they were finding a bit of a shift in the type of support that their service users were asking for. So their call handlers were receiving calls from service users that were quite distressed, and the situations had become quite more complicated. So they came to us for call handling training, and the feedback's just been wonderful. They're saying that they really like the Karma framework because it gives them a practical tool that they can use when they're supporting somebody on the phone. And the feedback was that the call handlers in general are managing the calls in a more empathetic way. They're more compassionate, and they're able to work through those challenges with those service users. And quite vitally, actually, they are able to look after their own well-being, because naturally dealing with conversations that are distressing, that has a negative impact on those call handlers as well. So that was really nice.
It's about keeping the cup full, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So you can give, yeah.
I do have another example.
Please.
So the Dogs Trust actually also came to us for some training, but this was for their managers. And they did our mental health awareness for managers course, and their feedback was really great. They said that their managers felt much better equipped to talk about mental health, to look after their own mental health, and to support their team. And they took away skills with communication. That was something that they really focused on. So we look at different communication styles, and assertive communication as a manager particularly is really key. So they fed back that they found that really helpful.
Excellent. Thank you. What are the common misconceptions that you find in the marketplace about mental health support?
There are lots of misconceptions about mental health at work in particular. One being, or the main one I would say, is that people think that mental health at work is something to be done in a crisis, when somebody is really struggling. And of course, it's really important to have the skills there, resources to signpost to if somebody is really finding things difficult or at crisis point. But the reality is that we all have mental health and we deal with it every day. Emotions and reactions, that's a normal part of day to day. So that preventative measure is what's important, really important. So equipping people with the skills to manage situations when they arise is really important. Another misconception would be that this is something that HR and managers only are responsible for, but actually to create a mentally healthy workplace culture, it takes everybody. So everybody needs to be
100%.
involved. So the more people within an organisation that can have some element of training and develop these skills, the better.
Yeah, I think what you're highlighting here is awareness. And if everyone has awareness, then they can spot it early.
Absolutely.
And then just, use the tools.
Another misconception is that if you're supporting somebody with mental health, that you need to fix the situation, that you need to be providing an answer. But in reality, people need to just feel heard, be seen, and be listened to empathetically.
Yeah.
So, and it's quite natural for people to shy away from offering support because they don't know what the answer is. They can't solve the situation. But that's really not what supporting somebody in a mental health capacity is about. It's about enabling them to see the choices that they have so that they can take steps to support their own mental health.
Mental health, yeah. I'd imagine in a training, I haven't done one with you yet. I'm very intrigued on a personal level. Just wanted to ask, like, some of the techniques or one of the ways of delivering the training. Do you tell stories in the training?
Yes, we do. Storytelling is quite an important part, really, of the training, mainly because we don't want to focus on complex theories or complex frameworks, because realistically, people are coming out of their busy lives. They've got their work to do, and they're coming into a training session, a half day or a day session, and they want practical skills that they can remember and use at work. So storytelling really helps with that recall. So trainers will present scenarios or use stories, but they will always give space for the learners to bring their own stories. So we encourage them to bring scenarios and their own situations or challenges that are relevant to their work environments into the training. But what I would also say is that there's absolutely no pressure.
Yeah.
Because we very much pride ourselves on creating a safe space.
Yeah.
And we understand that not everybody wishes to share things that have happened or their personal circumstance, and that's absolutely respected 100%.
And I get the impression that there's no right or wrong in what they express.
Absolutely not. Whatever people feel comfortable. And sometimes just listening to other people who are, wanting to share a challenge that they've experienced, that's still really, really helpful to be able to reflect on and use that in the training to apply the skills in practice.
I'm getting a sense here that you guys practice a lot of non-judgment, so people can feel safe.
Absolutely.
And then when they're vulnerable, then they can open up, and then hopefully, in essence, heal or recover, or feel some kind of empathy, or like a balm, as it were, on the wound.
Yeah.
If there's a wound. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's very powerful to have a training session where you are made to feel completely relaxed, completely safe and comfortable. And if you want to share, you can, and there's zero judgment. If you want to use the scenarios that the trainer presents, because we have obviously developed scenarios that they can use in the training that apply to a wide range of work environments, whether it's office workers, call centres or construction. we
Mm.
cover all bases.
Yeah.
So there will be something there to use if you don't have your own specific scenario that you want to put on the table.
Excellent. Last but not least, I think if every organisation adopted a better mental health practice, what kind of social impact do you think that can create?
Oh, it would be huge if everybody did it.
Yeah.
It really would, because we obviously know that people spend such a huge amount of time at work.
Mm.
If everybody had the skills to support themselves and each other, they understood that it was okay to speak openly about emotions, the impact that would have, they're taking those skills home to their family, to their friends and their wider community.
Yeah.
So the impact would be, a societal change.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
I would most certainly agree.
Mm.
Thank you so much
You're welcome.
for your
Thank you.
time and coming in.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you.
me.